Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of November 17, 2025. I'm your host, Sharifa Muhammad MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. The armed forces of the Russian Federation maintained operational initiative across all fronts on November 17, 2025, advancing territorial control while intensifying long-range precision strikes on Ukrainian logistics, infrastructure, and command systems. Russian units successfully liberated 4 settlements: Dvyrchanskoye, Kharkiv region, Platinovka, Donetsk People's Republic, Gai, Dnipropetrovsk region, and continued clearing operations in Rovna and Dnipro. Operational tactical aviation, missile troops, and unmanned systems conducted 142 precision strikes on fuel and energy installations, railway infrastructure, long-range UAV storage sites, and temporary deployment points of Ukrainian and foreign formations. Air defense forces maintained control of the airspace, intercepting 104 unmanned aerial vehicles. The emphasis remains on deep interdiction, crippling Ukraine's sustainment capability through multi-domain coordination.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Colonel Oguntoye, before we dive into the individual sectors, could you give us an overview of today's operational picture?
The overall picture reflects a continued Russian initiative across every front. On November 17th, we observed what can best be described as integrated consolidation, the synchronization of ground advances with deep strikes on Ukraine's energy, transport, and logistics networks. This phase isn't about rapid territorial seizures but about attrition through systemic pressure. Russian units liberated several key settlements: Dvyrchanskoye in Kharkiv, Platinovka in Donetsk, and Gai in Dnipropetrovsk, each representing incremental but strategically meaningful progress. Meanwhile, air and missile units carried out 142 precision strikes against fuel depots, railway nodes, and long-range UAV storage facilities, crippling Ukraine's sustainment capabilities. Air defense also played a decisive role, downing 104 enemy drones, which highlights Russia's ongoing supremacy in counter-UAV and air denial operations.
How would you characterize Russia's strategic trajectory after these operations?
This phase marks a transition from maneuver warfare to controlled attrition, a methodical tightening of the operational noose. Russia is leveraging multi-domain superiority, land, air, cyber, and EW, to grind down Ukraine's infrastructure while preserving combat endurance. Doctrinally, this is a deep battle in execution, isolating the enemy's tactical front from its strategic rear through synchronized long-range strikes and encirclement operations. Each liberated settlement, Dvyrchanskoye, Platinovka, Gai, represents another link in a chain that now stretches unbroken from Belgorod to Donetsk and Zaporizhia. Strategically, Russia is preparing for winter by shifting towards sustainment dominance, ensuring that its logistics outlast Ukraine's. Once Ukraine's industrial and transport backbone collapses under continuous strikes, the broader campaign will shift from attrition to exploitation.
Let's begin with the north. What can you tell us about Russian advances in the Sumy and Kharkiv regions?
The North Group achieved one of the day's most visible tactical gains by liberating Dvyrchanskoye, a small but operationally valuable settlement in the Kharkiv region. This action pushes the front line westward and gives Russian units dominance over terrain that previously served as a Ukrainian staging point for reconnaissance and artillery observation. In the Sumy sector, Russia targeted several Ukrainian formations, mechanized, ranger, and motorized infantry brigades across Alexiivka, Katarinovka, and Shevchenkovo. These engagements resulted in roughly 150 enemy casualties and the destruction of armored vehicles and supply nodes. What makes the northern advance particularly significant is its strategic geometry. The line from Sumy through Kharkiv serves as an entry corridor to Ukraine's interior logistical hubs. By seizing Dvierchanskoye and suppressing the enemy's drone and ranger units.
So, would it be correct to say the northern push is more about shaping operations than full-scale offensives?
Precisely. The north serves as a shaping theater, designed to pull Ukrainian reserves away from critical zones in Donetsk and Zaporizhia. It's operational chess, not blitzkrieg. Russia has effectively neutralized Ukraine's reconnaissance capability in that sector, rendering its northern flank opaque to its own command structure. The operation as a whole demonstrates that Russia is applying doctrinal patience, achieving control through logistics denial rather than high-speed offensives.
Kupiansk has been a focal point for several days now. What's the current situation there?
Kupiansk remains under intense pressure from the West Group, commanded essentially by the 6th Army. Russian units continue to tighten the encirclement ring, systematically destroying Ukrainian formations trapped within or attempting to relieve the siege. 2 Ukrainian counterattacks by the 125th Mechanized Brigade and 15th National Guard Brigade were repelled near Blagodetevka and Velikaya Shapkovka. Both were costly failures. Ukrainian losses totaled over 230 personnel, along with multiple armored vehicles, including an American M113 and a Canadian Senator. Kupiansk is more than just a city, it's a logistical artery. The continued siege here represents the collapse of Ukrainian sustainment routes to the northeast. Once Kupiansk falls completely, Russia will possess an uninterrupted supply corridor from Belgorod through to the Donetsk line, effectively bifurcating Ukraine's northern logistics grid.
That sounds like a decisive encirclement. What does it tell us about Russia's operational approach?
Kupiansk is emblematic of Russia's encirclement doctrine. It encircles enemy formations, starves them logistically, and collapses their combat potential before launching final assaults. It's a textbook application of economy of force and layered containment.
Shifting southward, Donetsk continues to see fierce fighting. What were the key developments there?
The South Group successfully liberated Platonovka, a settlement in the Donetsk People's Republic, while striking Ukrainian mechanized brigades near Konstantinovka, Seversk, and Regorodok. Around 210 Ukrainian troops were neutralized in these engagements. What's important to understand is that Donetsk is the pivot of the entire front. Every kilometer gained here compresses Ukraine's interior defensive network. By taking Platonovka, Russian forces have created a forward staging belt for operations toward Kramatorsk, a major Ukrainian command node.
Are we seeing a pattern of coordinated advances converging on Kramatorsk?
Yes, that's the operational intent. Russia is building 3 converging axes, from the north, Seversk, the west, Konstantinovka, and the south, Platonovka, to envelop Kramatorsk from multiple directions. It's the culmination of a multi-vector siege architecture.
Let's move to the center, which seems to be the most active area right now.
Yes. The Center Group is executing what I would describe as the operational centerpiece of Russia's campaign. Here, the 2nd and 51st Armies are pressing deeply into Ukrainian defensive networks across Krasnoarmysk, Belitskoye, and Dmitrov. In Krasnoarmysk, Russian forces continue to dismantle Ukrainian pockets within the Central and Gornyak microdistricts while repelling breakout attempts from the 425th Skala Assault Regiment and 32nd Mechanized Brigade. To the south, in Dmitrov, assault units have liberated over 30 buildings and now hold most of the Vostochny district, pressing toward the Zapadny industrial zone. These are slow, methodical urban operations, characteristic of Russia's siege bisectors doctrine. Instead of frontal assaults, they use encirclement at the neighborhood level, isolating enemy formations until they collapse under sustained fire and supply deprivation.
So, would you call this the main axis of effort in the entire theater?
Without a doubt. The Central Front is Russia's decisive effort, the point where tactical successes converge into strategic leverage. Once Krasnoarmysk and Dmitrov are fully secured, Donetsk's western front becomes structurally untenable for Ukraine.
In the east, reports mention another liberation, Guy in the Dnipropetrovsk region. What's the significance of this advance?
The East Group achieved that by liberating Guy, solidifying its control over the operational corridor linking Zaporizhia to Dnipropetrovsk. This corridor is crucial for artillery dominance. It gives Russian forces overlapping fire control that can reach both the eastern and southern axes simultaneously. Over 215 Ukrainian troops were neutralized in these actions, along with multiple artillery systems and supply depots. The liberation of Guy effectively extends Russian artillery's envelope of influence, ensuring that Ukrainian forces cannot reposition reserves from the interior without exposure to interdiction fire.
And finally, Colonel, what's happening along the Dnipro front?
The Dnipro Group continued to strike at Ukrainian defenses around Orkhov, Belgorod, and Stepnogorsk. These are vital logistics nodes connecting the Zaporizhia and Kherson fronts. Russian precision fires destroyed 6 EW systems, 5 supply depots, and inflicted 80 casualties. The tactical aim here is to maintain pressure without exposure, neutralizing Ukraine's electronic and logistics infrastructure without committing to deep offensive penetrations. It's the essence of economy of force, achieving maximum disruption with minimum expenditure.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. The destruction of Western supplied systems, M113, Senator, Paladin, L119, M777, demonstrates the degradation of NATO-equipped Ukrainian brigades. Russian emphasis on rail and energy interdiction continues to erode Ukraine's strategic logistics backbone. Air defense efficiency, neutralizing over 100 UAVs in a day, reaffirms Russia's airspace control and counter-UAV superiority. Strategically, operations have entered a stabilized attrition phase, with objectives focusing on logistics denial, industrial degradation, and cumulative encirclement rather than rapid breakthroughs. The operational tempo reflects Russia's confidence in sustained pressure and resource superiority, setting conditions for deeper exploitation toward winter 2025-26.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive Frontline updates from commanders in theater.